Well, ready or not, it's here. Winter has shown up. Oh, stronger than we wish. We had a little storm come through last night. Full fat is going back to snow fat, I believe. Got about 3 to 5 inches of snow. It's wet, it's slick, and it's just not the most fun to ride in right at the moment. I guess I got used to that summer thing. But anyway, short video today just to tell you winter's come here in Alaska. Our season has changed, and I guess we'll have to embrace whatever that means. Let's go for a ride. So winter's arrived, no doubt about that. And all those lessons I learned last winter come flashing back to me real quick. And there's a few things you need to know about winter riding, because I would encourage everybody to do it. So the first lesson, it's slow. If you're pushing snow and packing snow, it's just one of those things. It's an obstacle. It's something that you have to just be ready to deal with. So you tend to have to slow down. And I noticed myself that I tend to not do loop rides much anymore until I can get some kind of a trail. So today, because I really am the only person out here that I can spot anywhere, today's going to be basically out and back on several different trails. Going out, it's a lot of work because you're packing the snow down. Coming back, you're like, oh, that's a little better. I like that. So lesson 1, remember, it's going to be slower. It's just the nature of what we're doing. Lesson number 2. Lesson number 2 is simply, you're going to get hot. Because it's winter, and because you tend to cover up with more clothing, it tends to get a little bit warmer under there. So sweat is no longer a friend that helps you cool off. Sweat's the enemy. And so you tend to dress a little bit differently. You tend to stop periodically and air yourself out. Because if you don't, you sweat. And once you sweat, that's when you pay the true price. And that's one of you get cold, and it's hard to overcome that. So lesson 2, remember, you need to dress differently. You need to make sure you're not sweating, because the price you pay is simply not worth it. Lesson number 3 about winter cycling. We may all think we're heroes and we can push through any amount of snow, and doesn't matter how deep it is. We don't need tracks. We got knobby tires. Well, the truth of it is, I like the tracks. And so at this intersection, I've got this dilemma that somebody went through here with some kind of truck, probably the Army Corps of Engineers coming out doing their patrolling, and it's made for much nicer cycling one direction, but I'm in an intersection of trails where, well, that's no longer an option. So it'll slow me down. Traction may not be quite as good which really brings up the next point, you know, is, boy, winter cycling traction. The easiest way to get better traction is you got to air down those tires a little bit. So these full fat tires right now are running about 10, 11 PSI. Gives me a semi-hard tire, and when there wasn't snow and slippery stuff, they did a magnificent job. But I'm already telling today that, especially with the wet snow, dry snow, whole different thing. But wet snow, yeah, I might have to think about dropping those down to 7, 8 PSI so that tread flattens out a little bit better, which probably will give me a little better traction. Although today, with it as wet as it is and kind of the slimy layer that's under the snow, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But next thing I remember, the next lesson that I learned last year, sometimes you just got to let a little air out. Air down. So, winter cycling, it's the season. Came a little earlier, I thought, but then I did a little checking and found out that actually for where I live, snowfall on average comes on the 22nd of September. And this year it waited till the 24th, so I guess we had a balmy fall. It didn't get us quite as soon. Actually, it's a standard joke in my family that it always snows by my wife's birthday. And my wife's birthday happens to be September the 23rd. So happy birthday to you, dear. I know you don't wish you were out here because this is really my thing at this point. So there's just a few things there about winter cycling. The season's here. If you do it, and I would recommend you give it a try. Definitely give it a try. But just remember, you're going to go a little bit slower, keeping your bodies not too hot, not too cold, but definitely no sweat is pretty important. And then, boy, if you can find somebody who's packed a trail for you, it just makes the experience a little bit easier. So we're going to wrap this up. We've had a lovely first snow ride of the season, and it looks like the snow might be thinking about starting over again. So I think we'll see if we can find a different route back. But if not, I've got tracks to follow, so I won't get lost. Well, thanks for coming along. For those of you that have subscribed, I thank you for that. I will, hopefully, I believe, I'm going to hit the 400 subscriber mark, which seems like a lot of people to me, but I'll take it. And if you have comments, or if you are a winter cyclist, feel free to share your tips and tricks to the game. And until next time, there's no such thing as a bad ride. In fact, somebody once told me there's no such thing as bad weather, just poor clothing. Well, we'll see about that. Thanks for coming along.